A whistleblower complaint released this week regarding a telephone call between President Trump and Ukraine's President Zelensky is getting international attention. Every member of Colorado's Democratic delegation supports an impeachment inquiry, while meanwhile, Colorado's Republican delegation calls the impeachment inquiry premature and a partisan attack. Patty, the reactions from both the Colorado Democratic delegation and the Republican delegation weren't surprising, but I'm very interested to see the impact on Colorado politics of this. This is not something that's going to go away quickly, and we have a big U.S. Senate race coming up, and a U.S. representative in Ken Buck who is running the Colorado Republican Party. It's clearly going to have some impact here. When you saw this all go down here, what do you think it's going to do in Colorado?
It's going to make a great Saturday Night Live skit. When you have the basic incident involving a former reality TV show star who's now president of the United States and a former comic who's now the president of Ukraine, you are definitely in bizarro world, if not in a doomsday cult. There is really something going on here, as no one more liberal than Chris Wallace said this morning on Fox when he said, people are saying it's nothing. Critics on the right are saying it's nothing. There's definitely something going on here. People are casting aspersions on the whistleblower, saying he doesn't really exist, that this is part of a conspiracy, to the extent that the New York Times put in some identifying characteristics, that he actually worked in the CIA, that he was based in the White House, that he'd also been in Europe. Now people are slapping the New York Times for putting in too much information about this whistleblower. But to show the credibility he has on this accusation of this phone call where Trump asked for help on investigating Hunter Biden, it looks very, very credible. Let me say right now, whistleblowers, all journalists, and free people anywhere owe them a debt of gratitude. And we have not heard the last of this, but it is going to work out a lot faster than the 2020 elections.
David, an impeachment inquiry is different than an impeachment hearing. So are we going to be learning a lot more about the detail and the minutia of the difference between inquiries and hearings and all that kind of stuff that we've had before?
Well, maybe, you know, in this bizarre infotainment alternate universe we've apparently all slipped into, this impeachment prequel show has been going on for so long, and like, oh, but the impeachment show is eventually coming. Well, not yet, and you know, doesn't seem to. You know, there's all these leaks and lies and denials and everything from bad faith on all sides. I don't trust either side. It wouldn't shock me if both Trump and Biden deserve to be impeached, but rather than making a decision on that at this point, because all we have so far is just lots of talk, no action, I'm going to wait until some House committee actually draws up articles of impeachment and lists the specific evidence that goes for each article. And then at that point, then it'll be time to make a decision whether impeachment's a good idea or not.
Marie, politically, again, there's a lot of details to come out, and this is going to be something we'll probably talk about for a long, long time. But just right now, does this, I guess I have imagined this gives a big edge for Joe Biden, is thinking if he's already worthy of an international conspiracy, then he's probably the most feared opponent. Does this help him in the primary, which is still a very crowded room?
Look, I don't think so. I think this is a scary, scary attack for him, and it's an attack on everyone running for president, not just Joe Biden. And I think all the Democratic contenders need to step up and say that they all stand with him, that this is a gross abuse of power. I got to disagree that all we have here is talk. We have real proof of a crime. If you could remove the power of the party of the president and say, a president was on the phone trying to dig up dirt on a political opponent, I'm not going to tell you what party he's from, everyone would say, that's not okay. The president's out of control. And I hope we see, you know, the rest of our members of Congress step up and say, look, this isn't okay. And I got to give a huge shout out to Jason Crow, who was part of a really important op-ed this week. He joined with 6 other freshman members of Congress who are all from battleground states, all from national security backgrounds, and they said, look, we're not going to focus on how the political chips fall. We're going to do the right thing for the Constitution, and I think he was part of an important movement to turn the tide there.
Carlos, let's bring it back to Colorado politics. You have Ken Buck, who's running the Colorado Republican Party. As a Republican legislator, he's calling this a partisan an issue. You also have in Colorado I think in our primary, Democratic primary, Bernie Sanders still very popular. He won back in 2016, likely has the edge at the very least right now. But then a lot of conversation and probably support for what's happening to or what could have happened to Joe Biden. It can get a little crazier in Colorado. What do you think is going to happen from the result of all this?
Sure. Well, first, let's, these talks of impeachment on Trump have been going on for quite a while, from his use of racist language, his personal finances, tax evasion, collusion with the Russians, obstruction of justice. It's been going on for a while. So I'm glad that the Colorado Democrats, all of them, are finally on board with this inquiry on this latest misuse of power, and it's not alleged misuse of power. Like, Trump himself has admitted to asking a foreign leader to interfere in our elections by digging up dirt on a political rival, and then his administration tries to cover it up by lockboxing the transcripts. Really, enough is enough on this, and if Cory Gardner and the Republicans here in Colorado are too afraid of Donald Trump to condemn this type of election interference, then they need to be elected out of office.